Hey, welcome back to the Become Great podcast. I'm your host, Ahab Al-Hindi. Today, I have a dear friend of mine, Andrew Erickson. We've been friends for almost 10 years now.
Yeah.
And he's been an entrepreneur over 20 years, one of the smartest men that I know. If I'm doing a panel or something, I always invite Andrew because he's brilliant. And he's a CTO and CRO of a global company. They have an office here in town. And I wanted to introduce you to him, one, because we had the privilege of meeting the governor of Oklahoma this last week, had lunch with him, and that was an incredible time. And I wanted to just kind of unpack that with you guys. But last time I mentioned the only difference between the person you are today and the person you are in 5 years are the people you meet in the books that you read. And I wanted to introduce you to somebody who's going to change your life, because this man has changed my life. And who you have in your network, the people that you surround yourself with, they're the most important people in your life. You know, as a dad of 5, I am so concerned about who my kids spend their time with. And then I think about it, you know, my oldest is 11, my youngest is 3. When do I stop caring about that? Is it when they're 16? No. Is it when they're 25? No. So when does it stop being important who you surround yourself with? It never does. I'm 45 years old, and it's so important who I surround myself with, because I will be like the people that I surround myself with. So he's somebody who I am proud to say is one of my closest friends. And he's also, he adds value to everybody he comes into contact with. So Andrew, thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me, Ahab. You know, I love you.
Love you too, man.
Any opportunity to do something like this. I was just thinking while you were talking, the last podcast, the belief, and I was thinking back to a moment, a phone call that I made to you when I stopped believing in myself.
Yeah, that was rough.
And you spoke words of life, words of encouragement, words that deep down I did believe, but I had let circumstances kind of override that belief.
Yeah.
And I think we both, in different seasons, like we've been able to be that for each other.
I mean, like, lead on one another.
Yeah, so important, man.
Yeah, it's, you know, our friendship has gotten me through a lot, and I know, like, you know, it goes back and forth, and that's a sign of a true friendship, right? Like people who add value to one another, build one another up. One of the first conversations I ever had with you, you had a really close friend, and you guys were always tearing each other down. And I said, hey, I want to be friends with you, as long as it doesn't look like that. I want this to be a friendship where we both feel more full when we spend time with each other. And we've been intentional about doing that.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I remember when you said that, I remember thinking, wow, it's funny that I actually feel the same way, but I've kind of like, I just ignored it. And then you said that, I'm like, man, I do feel better being around you, going to play golf with you than I was in those other circumstances. And anyways, it's been a really, I think about it often in friendships and life in general, even employees. Like, do I actually want to build this company with this person? Is this somebody that I see myself working for or working for me in 20 years?
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
So Andrew and I had the privilege of meeting Governor Stint from Oklahoma. We went on a hunting trip, which was awesome.
Fun.
Yeah, we had a blast. I reached out to the governor, said, hey, would you mind, carving out some time? He said, let's do lunch at the mansion. And it was awesome, super special. Loved being with him. And it was my first face-to-face interaction with him. Everything's been over the phone or FaceTime or Zoom. And there were so many nuggets of wisdom that I got through that 1.5 hours of just eating, getting the tour of the mansion, and just kind of experiencing his world for a minute. You and I kind of walked away. We had an 1.5-hour drive afterwards, and we could not stop talking about it. And so I was like, let's give this to the podcast, followers. So what was like one of your number one takeaways?
There were obviously many, and we went through it on the ride home or the ride to the ranch. The thing that I left that meeting is feeling inspired. And I tried to trace it back to, why do I feel so inspired after meeting him? What was it that he said or that he did? And I think what it is ultimately is it's like accumulation of decisions he's made since an early age. At 6 years old, he's telling his mom that, hey, I want to be the governor. The level of belief that he had in himself.
Yeah.
From a very early age, all the way up until, and then at the age of 22, when he's talking about writing his goals down and he's listing that he wants to be the governor as number 8. So I don't know what the first 7 were, but they were probably pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And
but then he crossed it out or erased it. And then because it was too big, it was too lavish. And then he writes down dinner with the governor. And then he's laughing and he goes, now I have breakfast, lunch, and dinner with the governor.
Yeah, it's just wild.
This is wild, man.
Yeah. And
that was the word that I walked away with. That was an inspirational man.
really, truly.
And it's hard to even go, okay, what was so inspirational about him? Because I think you're right. Like he has a belief in himself. And then we started talking about like dreams and like the future. And the way he dreams is like some people dream in 2x, like I want to double what I'm doing. And some people dream in 25 or 5x or 10x. He was dreaming 25x on everything he was doing. Family, finances, the way he wants to operate his business when he goes back into the marketplace. I'm like, this guy just dreams bigger than I dream. And he took a lid off of my mind and then he spoke like what I believe was prophetically over me.
Totally.
And he's like, no, you're a billionaire. And I'm like, oh, I've never been called that. And I've never even thought that about myself. And it's a belief that I'm like, maybe I need to believe this about myself. Maybe there's a limiting belief that I have that I need to remove about me.
Yeah.
And, and I can, you and I run in similar circles. We feel very successful a lot of times in the way we operate. And then you get to somebody and you're like, oh man, this guy is on a level of success I'm not aware of. I haven't even dreamt of. And he's calling me into that level even higher, which it was really impressive.
Yeah. I mean, the calling us higher piece, to me, one of the things that was remarkable was you see what happens to people when they're in office, public office.
Yeah.
He's the governor of a state responsible for millions of lives, right? And all these different businesses and all the things that are involved in running a government. And yet when he leaves, he doesn't look like he aged 20 years, like some of the presidents and, others. He actually is like, he is ready for the next chapter. He is ready to hit the ground running. He's got this, there's an energy where he's looking forward to this next season. Where other people would take a rest. They'd be like, I'm tired.
You see the way he went upstairs?
Yeah. He jumped up the stairs.
He leaped 3 steps at a time. The man was bounding in energy.
I know. I was hobbling up. I was like, what the heck is happening?
Yeah.
It's so funny you saw that because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, I can't keep up with that. Come on now.
It was just like I think he was just excited to show us what he's doing, what he's working on. And one of the things I loved, this is just for any of us as we're doing whatever we're doing. He's in his final year, right? He's got 1 year to go. And this was probably the most impressive piece. He goes, yeah, I've actually just finished shuffling the seats in my cabinet because going into my 8th year, I want it to be my best year. Like so many people don't think that way. They're like, oh, let me coast through this last year. It's my senior year, whatever it is. I'm like, I'm gonna get by. I'm not gonna put my foot on the gas. But he has a vision that whatever he does, he leaves it better than when he got there. And he can't do that in 6 years. Can't do that in 7 years. He needed the full 8. And he's like, this last year is the most important year.
That's remarkable. Like you said, there's so many things leaving that. It was honestly, I wanted, when we left, I felt like there was a part of me that wanted to just like talk the whole time. There's another part of me where just wanted to like shut down and go in a closet somewhere and like, contemplate everything that I just heard and like think through like, what am I believing about myself even, and I don't feel like I have aspirational, things that I'm going for and all that. And I do believe in myself, but man, leaving that, I'm like, I need to step it up.
Yeah. Just removing limiting beliefs out of our life.
The ceiling the ceiling in our life it's constructed so much by our own fears and frustrations or setbacks. We do it to ourselves
every time,
and I think it's part of the community that you surround yourself with, the people that are in your network. And, because a lot of people don't have parents that have spoken life over them. They don't have even sometimes wives or husbands that believe in them.
Yeah.
And so the ceiling, the lid that we put on ourselves, it's so often constructed by those that are around us.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important. I think, like you said earlier, just having a community of friends and people that do believe in you and that are calling you higher,
Yeah.
constantly challenging when you're being something,
An idiot.
There you go. Yeah. When you're being an idiot, when you're not thinking, same thing you did on the phone call with me when I called you, like, it's like, what are you doing? Like, wake up.
Accountability for most of my adult life and in my youth was you confess your sins kind of accountability, right? And I've learned that the elite level of accountability is calling people to who they truly are designed to be, to calling people towards their destiny. And I find that kind of accountability to be outrageously, like it brings so much more life. Like my son, I got home from this trip. One of my boys had been acting out, right? And I just pulled him aside and I said, everything you're saying is so beneath you. Why would you settle for this version of yourself? Like the way you're talking to your mom is so beneath you. It's not who you are. And so it's challenging. It's saying this is not acceptable, but it's also saying this is not even who you are. You're called to be so much better than this.
Man, and when you don't, part of what's beautiful about declarations that one of the things I'm trying to do with my kids now is doing these daily declarations. And what I realize is I'm teaching them how to proclaim things about themselves.
Yeah.
Right? I'm teaching them the value of their words, that words matter, that when you speak, it's life and death is in the power of the tongue and all those. But when you don't have, if you don't have friends that are doing that, what you can do for yourself is actually, even when you don't believe it yet, speaking it out, declaring it, speaking that truth, and letting those words just create the atmosphere cultivate the belief that you want to have. And sometimes it takes a long time to feel like, but then you start like, wow, I really am this. I am a leader.
Yeah.
I am a kind, I lover, I love people. I lead well. I lead with integrity, all those things it's just it's so important. I think the declarations piece, that Governor Stint had that in his life.
Oh yeah.
I mean, 6 years old, talking about being governor.
And he didn't come from a wealthy family.
Oh.
He came from I think his parents were pastors, and he came from an environment where being governor was not something that was even it's not something that would be lifted up. Going into ministry, doing missions, those are the type of things that are probably being lifted up. And for him to say governor of the state of Oklahoma when he's 5 or 6 years old, it probably threw his mom off. Like, where did this kid come from? And then to continue that, and even the way he decided to become governor, he's got his family, he's got 6 kids, and he's doing all this, and then he's got this burden in his heart that I need to run for governor. He doesn't have name recognition in the state. He's not really supposed to be running, and God puts this burden in his heart. It's just it's a nagging feeling, belief that he's supposed to do it, and he's supposed to do it now. And he's sitting out to coffee with one of our dear friends, and they're talking, and my buddy Eamon says, "Yeah, I was just got back from China. I was at the Great Wall of China, and man, it just was really remarkable that the first generation that started the Great Wall of China wasn't the generation that actually finished the Great Wall of China, and that they were building something that they would never see completed, and they were building something that their grandkids and their great grandkids would finish." And he's like, and he felt like he was asked by the Lord, like, what are you building that's for legacy?
Yeah.
And then that's when, for the first time, he publicly confessed, to somebody, I'm supposed to be governor of Oklahoma. Kevin then replies to that because that story was so inspirational. And he goes, and then Amen becomes a campaign manager, someone who has no campaign management experience, right? And then they win. Out of nowhere, there were 10 people running.
Yep.
he
all
was
with name recognition.
all with name recognition. One, I think there was the attorney general.
Attorney general.
You know, they're just different people there's somebody in the state,
Yep.
right? And he ends up winning. And it's so remarkable because there's this hand of God kind of a thing where you're like, this is really impressive. Like, this doesn't make logical sense. Like, the dream from when he was a child,
Yep.
the thing that just, it wouldn't go away. And then he runs, and with nobody really having expectation. And then within 2 days, he's meeting with the two senators. When he decides to run, within 2 days, he's meeting with the two senators of the state of Oklahoma in Washington, D.C. Like, it's just like, wow.
And he had enough after that first time he spoke it. Then he has that phone call, and then he, like, reluctantly in some ways says it again.
Yeah.
You know, nervously.
Yeah.
And had he not said that, those meetings wouldn't have happened, because that person on the other end of that phone call was connected immediately to the sitting senators of Oklahoma.
It's wild.
It is.
There's a thread in this whole thing. It's about what we're talking about, right? This thread of who we surround ourselves with.
Yeah.
That man that he called was his mentor. A man that he wasn't calling him to get his connection. He was calling him to get wisdom. And he got connections out of it.
I remember asking him, I thought he was some business leader. I thought he was some kind of, like, you know, mega.
His mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was a pastor.
Yeah.
He was somebody that he would call if he was, you know, dealing with anything with his marriage or just, you know, personal development stuff. He wasn't some mega donor to the Republican Party or anything like that.
Yeah.
And yet he was, and I'm sure Kevin, you know, Governor Stanton didn't realize or think for a minute that, okay, if I say this, then all of a sudden that's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, I bet one thing is he might have been saying to sit, you know, for somebody to either say you're insane,
Yeah.
you know, but instead the guy's like, we're going for it.
Let's do this.
Yeah, let's do this.
It's amazing.
It really is.
You know, I remember he said he went away for a weekend with his wife to go and pray and fast about the decision before they start making any announcements. And this out of all of the things that I heard in the meeting, I think this one gave me just so much illumination of who he is as a man, right? He's there, he's praying, he's kind of wavering back and forth, can't make a decision, gets a text message from an old employee that he let go of, right? 2 years ago, 2 years prior. So he hadn't talked to the guy in 2 years. He gets a text message from that guy. He says, whatever you're praying about, God says, do it. This spoke so much to me. One, who he was as a man, as a believer, was never hidden. In his business world, like in his business life, this is who he was. Like he brought who he was fully to his business.
Yeah.
And he had enough rapport that even when he let someone go out of his business, the person was still connected to him enough to be able to like pray, hear from God, and then give it to him 2 years later. Like, those types of things are so unique. They don't happen every day. No. And to steward relationships like that is so beautiful. It just showed why he was able to step into a role like this.
Yeah, he was the right man at the right time for that. But, you know, I was thinking about it. Had he failed, let's say that he didn't get elected.
Yeah.
The cool thing for him, when I look at him, that wouldn't have been a setback for him. That wouldn't have been, okay, I failed. Like, I guess I missed it or whatever. Yeah. He would have been like, okay, onward and upward. I'm moving to the next thing. I was obedient to what God told me to do. Yeah. That was what I needed to do. I just
had full expectation not to win.
That's true. Yeah.
He's like, I'm just doing this out of obedience. Like, I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. And then he won. And he was just like, okay. I think also something that was really cool is I would have probably been really insecure that first year. Like, I would probably tiptoed around, like, I don't really know government super well. I don't know how to operate in this environment. I don't want to hurt feelings. I want to make sure that, like, I'm received well. And he just said, well, I'm the governor now. This is my new role. Mm-hmm. And now I'm gonna lead the way I always led. And it was really cool because we met Liz, is the lady who kind of runs the mansion, and really sweet lady, incredible. And she's been in that building for 30 years, running that building. And she's so special. And then she says that she's served for 4 different governors, and she just loves Governor Stint and loves his family. And they left a mark on her. He is who he is behind closed doors.
That's it.
And in public. And that's something I strive for. And me being who I am is a little bit goofy, but like I love me, so I let me be me wherever I am.
You remember we were talking on the way back, and we were talking about this idea that, 2 generations from now, your great grandkids, or great great grandkids are going to know, or your name is going to be forgotten. Yeah. And I was really challenged in that after that meeting. And hey, that's not always the case.
No, it's not.
You can leave a big enough mark where for generations, your name is remembered because you made a difference. And I think, he's obviously made a difference in that state, the people around him. I talked to one of his leaders. I won't mention his name, but he was appointed by Governor Stint. And he did not want to do it. He turned it down. He said, I thought it was 4 times. Damon thought it was 4 times. He actually said, no, it was 5 times.
Wow.
But what's interesting is the governor, and he's done an excellent job for the governor. And it's like, he saw this man. He's like, no, you are the right man. And I'm going to keep until you can see it. Because until you can see what I see, I'm just going to keep pursuing you. And the guy finally said yes. And it hasn't been like easy. It wasn't an easy job. But he has been so successful. Has made a big difference for that state. And that guy he laid his life down for his friend to come and join and be part of this mission to better Oklahoma. He left, and it's a sacrifice doing that. And that's the other thing, is surrounding yourself with people that are willing to sacrifice for you.
I think one of the interesting things is some people becoming governor of Oklahoma or any state would be the aspiration in life. For Governor Stint, it was the sacrifice for his life, because he had to put everything he'd been building on hold for 8 years to serve a mission that in everything that he was doing didn't make a whole lot of sense.
Right.
And that was like remarkable. Anyway, just a powerful, powerful time.
What would you say if there was one thing that you would even just want the audience to, like, we talked about belief is, believing in yourself, surrounding yourself with people. I don't know if I can put it that well into words of like one thing, because there's so many, but is there something that just if there's nothing else, remember this.
I think one thing that I can probably kind of summarize is he wasn't ready when he was 6. He wasn't ready when he was 22, but his whole life was preparation, was preparing him to do something that was bigger than himself. And whether it was through the people he surrounded himself with, the books that he read, the relationships that he stewarded, the way he carried himself, he was always preparing for something that he did not know what it was for. And, life is lived in one direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's understood looking back. And a lot of times, like, as in our 40s, we look at our lives and we look back and we go, oh, this makes sense and that makes sense and this makes sense. But when we're living it, none of it makes sense. It's all feels like mystery. It all feels hard. It all feels like we're pushing a rock up a hill. But in hindsight, things always seem to make sense. I think if we could prepare like ourselves with the right people, the right books, the right environment, and the right beliefs, I think we become ready for whatever God puts in front of us.
So good. Yeah, that's good. I don't know if I have anything to add. The guy he fired, I would say that in that same context, you can make a lot of messes in life, especially when you have 1,000 employees.
Yeah.
You can create a lot of messes for yourself.
A lot of messes.
And yet nothing came during campaign. He was free. He knew that he had lived and operated with integrity,
Yeah.
even firing well.
Yeah.
To the point that a guy you fired comes back with a word and saying,
Confirmation.
confirmation.
Crazy.
Oh man. I know I'm just thankful I don't have to run for office anytime soon.
Oh man. Well, we're just so thankful for you guys joining us. If you like what you're seeing, please like, subscribe, and give us a follow. I just want to thank you again, Andrew, for joining us. One last thing, just prepare like you're going to be doing something special in life, because you have a calling that is special. It's bigger than yourself. Surround yourself with good people, read great books, and become great.